Okay, so in this video what we're trying to do is find coefficients of a given polynomial if we're given specific points. So we're given specific points, so we have to use these points. So for example, I have this polynomial up here. A times x minus 1 times x minus 4 plus b times x minus 1 times x minus 6 plus c times x minus 4 times x minus 6. And my given points are 1, 45, 4, 12, and 6, 60. Well, for each one of these points, I know they're in alphabetical order, x, y. And what I'm going to do is just use one point at a time and plug into my polynomial and find each one of these coefficients. So I want to start with the first point, 1, 45. And so I'm going to plug in. Everywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in a 1. Everywhere I see a y, I'm going to plug in a 45. So I have 45 is equal to a times 1 minus 1 times 1 minus 4 plus b times 1 minus 1 times 1 minus 6 plus c times 1 minus 4 times 1 minus 6. Now, I want to clean this up as much as possible. So, in my first term, 1 minus 1 is 0. Anything times 0 cancels out. So this piece is gone. Same thing happens in the second term. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this piece cancels out and is gone. The only piece that remaining is my third term. So I have 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. So c times negative 3. 1 minus 6, which is negative 5. And 45 just falls down. Now, I can clean this up. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. So I have 45 is equal to 15c. Now, this is multiplication. 15 times c, to undo multiplication, we need to divide by 15 on both sides. Doing that, I find that c is equal to 3. Great, so we're done with that first point. Now I want to do the same idea with the second point. Everywhere I see an x, plug in a 4. Everywhere I see a y, plug in a 12. So I have 12 is equal to a times 1 minus, or sorry, x minus 1 times x minus 4 plus b times x minus 1 times x minus 6. And since we know what c is, I can now plug that in. So plus 3 times x minus 4, x minus 6. And again, everywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in a 4. Which I honestly should have done earlier, but I forgot. That's okay, so just go back and fix it. So I have 4 minus 1 times 4 minus 4 plus b times 4 minus 1 times 4 minus 6 plus 3, which was our c, times 4 minus 4 times 4 minus 6. Okay? Now, what I want to do is just simplify as much as possible. In my first term, 4 minus 4 is 0, so my first term is going to cancel out. In my second term, 4 minus 1 is 3, so I have 12 is equal to b times 3. 4 minus 6 is positive 2. Okay, and in my third term, 4 minus 4 is 0, so my third term is going to cancel out. So this is all I have left using my second point. I need to clean this up and figure out what b is. 3 times 2 is 6, so 12 is equal to 6b. And again, this is multiplication, so to undo multiplication, we need to divide on both sides. So we find out by dividing by 6 on both sides that b is equal to 2. Okay, and then finally we only have one point left, 6, 60. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in a 6. Everywhere I see a y, I'm going to put in a 60. So just repeat the same process. I have 60 is equal to a times 6, everywhere I see an x, I put in a 6. So 6 minus 1 times 6 minus 4. Now we know what b is, so we can plug that in. So plus 2 times 6 minus 1 times 6 minus 6. And again, we knew that c is now 3. So 3 times 6 minus 4 and 6 minus 6. We want to clean this up as much as possible, and we'll find our last coefficient. So in my first term, 6 minus 1 is 5, so I have 60 is equal to a times 5. 6 minus 4 is positive 2. Okay? And then here, my second term, 6 minus 1 is 5, but 6 minus 6 is 0, so my second term cancels out. And same thing happens in my third term. 6 minus 6 is 0, so the third term cancels out. So the only thing left we have is 60 is equal to 10a. This is multiplication. To undo multiplication, we divide on both sides. Once we divide up both sides by 10, we find out that a is equal to 6. So now we have all three of our coefficients that were missing, a, b, and c. And that's it for this video.